Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Learning the game from multiple sources. Yeah, and you know what? This is interesting because one of the things I said in a video a couple days ago is, it's alright to get information from different sources, and as far as this thing of ours we call game, right? Now, I'm aware some people might have a different viewpoint on it, and I respect whatever they're saying, but I can only talk about what I know. And see, when I'm saying the game is bigger than just getting, the game of man gets woman. Way bigger than that. It's about the game of life. See, one of the things is I didn't grow up with my father, right? I didn't grow up with my father and only seen him in person, really, since I was 2 years old, just maybe like for a few days, like about over 10 years ago, right? So, he wasn't in my life, but at the same time, as a result, I got to pick and choose like things from different men in my life as far as how I'm getting out here. I mean, just like I said, learning the game of man gets woman and then the game of life. Like in the game of man gets woman, right? I learned a lot from my uncles, my grandfather, my step-grandfather, right? Like from my Uncle Sonny, right? And yeah, he was a trip. He was, that dude was smooth. that dude was smooth. I remember he took me to church one time when I was 7 years old, right? I think I talked about this in A Player's Eyes, right? And my hair wasn't right. That dude yelled at me. He said, "Man," he's like, "You got a girlfriend?" I'm like, "I'm 7. He didn't care. He was like, "Shoot, she should break up with you and stuff. Your hair ain't right." And see, Uncle Sonny, he was like an action hero and stuff. He really was. I mean, that dude looked like Billy D. Williams. In fact, my maternal grandfather looked like Billy D. Williams, minus the processed hair, right? But well, there was something about Billy D. Williams, maybe a distant relative, but whatever. But anyway, my uncle, he looked like Billy D. Williams, but he acted like Alonzo Harris. He was a cop. He was a detective, right? And he worked vice, but he also worked burglary, right? But the thing with him was, my man was smooth. He was smooth. I mean, he was a deadly pretty boy. Like I said, he looked like Denzel. I know he looked like Billy D, but he acted like Alonzo Harris from Training Day, right? But he used to clear some cases, but his thing was the charisma. I learned the charisma from him, or learned how to apply it, I should say. I learned how to apply it, how to deal with people, because he would catch somebody on one thing. He get them so comfortable, so relaxed. They tell him about crimes he didn't ask about. And he'd be like, "Yo, whoa, dude, I'm not even asking you about all of that stuff." I mean, man, I can't even tell some of the stories, but, and he was good. We used that charisma, man. He was able to find out stuff because he had a network of snitches and stuff. He was able to get people nice and comfortable. He could flip people easily. I seen some guys he flipped. They trying to help him move, helping him around his house and whatnot, right? But he was, I learned how to like really relax people around, just watching him, how he dealt with people. He's that cat could go anywhere and like chill him out, right? But I learned that aspect of the game from him. My step-grandfather, he wasn't a pretty boy like most of my family members and stuff, regular looking dude, but he could spit that hot fire. That dude had a mouthpiece for days. I give it to him. That dude was like, he felt like that dude could probably talk a priest into taking a condom, which looking back at it don't seem like a big deal, but And shit, he said ice to Eskimo or something like that, right? But I used to watch that dude just spit some hot fire. Keep grandma all calm and stuff. Grandma's kind of volatile, dude. So that dude, he spit that hot fire. She calm her ass down and shit, right? And he be talking with people and just in the street and stuff. Cause he used to be one of those like shade tree mechanics and whatnot, man. Take some $100 car, fix it up, sell it for $1,000 or something, right? And he hang out like at this back alley, place that fixed cars and whatnot, right? Man, my man, he just spit the game, you know. He just spit that game. He'd be talking with women, be like, hey, yeah, he was married, but he liked to flirt. He was a sailor, and my man, I learned like that verbal game from him, right? And then my granddaddy Jimmy, his numbers running ass. Yeah, I had a grandfather who ran numbers, and then an uncle who was a cop. Yeah, that was an interesting family, y'all. But that dude, I just learned just how to be just cool, period. That dude was just laid back. In fact, those old school like black gangsters and stuff, they went all rah-rah and stuff, man. I know y'all see about Bumpy Johnson and all of them, but most of them were chilled. Even cops said, I talked to some white cops and they said they kind of like dealing with like the black organized crime fans. They said you arrest them and stuff, they just chilled about it. It was it was just business. And they used to have big families and stuff. But yeah, Granddad Jimmy, that was his name. He was just a smooth cat. Go over his house every weekend and stuff, right? Man, he had so many women up in there, man. It'd be a different woman every week and whatnot, man. Old, young. And one of his young girls hollering out the window at me to get something from her from the store. Another one was trying to like use some game to get me to get something from the store, and I'm looking at her like, damn, you just need to give me some money. But he was smooth with it, man. He was smooth, right? Learned that from him. And my crazy Uncle Junior. Yeah, we all had an Uncle Junior. He kind of spit that hot fire. His thing was more that hot fire being just cool. He was a street dude, though. He was a street dude, right? Learn how to do it, do the thing from him. But then, I had this other dude, right? I'll just say the dude was like Ghost. Older dude. I'll just leave it at that. Dude was like Ghost from Power. Real life Ghost, right? But I learned more about business from him and how to just carry yourself, period. Because even though he was like Ghost, I'll say it publicly, I have no idea how he might have got extra money. But he was just a professional, and just how he did everything, business-wise, how he carried himself, everything. He walked with power, literally. I learned that from him, right? Then I had some dudes on my street. Like I said, I had my step-grandfather, my grandfather's uncles, man. But, it's a different watching a man actually interact with his family. And I had a couple good family, man. There was one dude on my street. I'm Facebook friends with his son and his wife, right? And his daughter. Knew the whole family. They just celebrated, I think. They've been married since the 70s. So it might have been like a 40th wedding anniversary or something. It was one of those milestone type of things and stuff. But you know what? Learn how to just be a family man from him. And how to deal with children. I mean, I ain't never see that dude that crazy raise his voice. That dude just, he just went, did his thing. Make sure his wife and kids were taken care of. Make sure his kids were in private school. Made his money. He did all that stuff. Did a few extra things. But he was just a pure family man. He wasn't on no player thing, no game thing. There was no scandal about him dealing with another woman or anything that, I would have heard it. I put it like that. He was cool like that. You had then other guys who were like hustlers and, just going through life, man. It was just about pulling the best from people. as we go through life, we don't just have one teacher. If we in a community, the village is literally raising us. That's the thing to remember. So it's normal to get stuff from everybody. Just get the best, because people gonna have their specialties. People gonna have their different aspects. If you look at a fictional character, Batman, right? In fact, that's a great example. If you look at his backstory, I mean, I know what y'all seen in like the Dark Knight series and everything. He learned from one person, but if you look at his backstory from the comics and everything, he went all over the world and learned different shit from different people. And that's how it has to be. And, you got to be open to it. Even in, sometimes some people have compared the game of man against woman, to martial arts. There's a lot of cats out there who've taken multiple styles. And he actually developed their own style. I've actually met some grandmasters out there. They'll say, yeah, I studied this style, this style. They studied 3 or 4 styles and then came up with their own thing. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, and a lot of times when y'all hearing me talk, or if for the lucky few to watch how I move through the world, that's not just wrong. I picked up a lot of stuff from everybody. And see, I'm just told y'all about the men. I've had a lot of women break down some shit for me. But their main thing was just breaking down female nature for me, way before anybody was talking about red pill or anything. So I had women just sit back and tell me, hey, you know what, this how this other woman going to do. Because the women, they were cool. They saw I had a good heart. They said, like, nah, we don't want to see some of these heifers out here dog you out, And that's not even just family members. Sometimes it be some random women. They say, Ram, you sincere. You sincere, Ram. So, we're going to tell you what. We don't want to see you get hurt. All right? But you want to learn. And just be open to it, okay? Just be open to it. And I'm saying this now, even as someone who's selling books out here and everything. I don't mind people buying, like, getting stuff from another coach or relationship expert or something. Sometimes they even refer it. Some people can tell you too. I've had some cats that I've coached and I said, okay, well, you know what? You probably gone as far as you can go with me. Let me send you over to this other cat. And I'm cool with that because we all have our place. In fact, I'm still learning some stuff. I've talked about Tantra, but I still got a lot to learn about Tantra. I still have a lot to learn and definitely a lot to practice about it. So I'm just like, all right, I'm still learning. I'm about to jump into some stuff now I can't share right now, but in a few months, I'm going to hit y'all with some deep ass shit. We're going to take this thing to a even greater level. So anyway, right? Learn the game. Like, learn from who you can. Learn from who's succeeding. Learn from who's failing, because then you learn, hey, shoot, not to do that. As this elder minister told me one time, sometimes you can learn from somebody by seeing what not to do. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.